Bonjour and welcome to Some French with Laura. So today we're going to be going over some numbers. We're going to be doing 1 to 12 and then also all of the 10s, so like 20 to 100 as well. I hope you enjoy. So to start off with, we're just going to do the numbers 1 to 5 and then build from there. So to start off with, 1 is un. I know the pronunciation is very different to the spelling, so I thought I'd write the spelling down just in case you ever saw this word written down in France and wondered what it was. So yeah, 1 is un, 2 is deux, 3 is trois, even though it really doesn't look like that, 4 is quatre, and 5 is cinq. So I'll do that once more. 1 is un, 2 is deux, 3 is trois, 4 is quatre, and 5 is cinq. I'll read that once more and then you can repeat after me, so I'll leave a gap after I've said it. So 1 is un, 2 is deux, 3 is trois, 4 is quatre, and 5 is cinq. Great, I think we're ready to move on. So we'll do the numbers 6 to 10 now. So even though 6 looks like the English spelling, it's actually pronounced six. And you'll see the same for 10 as well. Even though it looks like it should be said differently, it's actually pronounced dix. So those two numbers are very similar. So 6 is six, 7 is sept, 8 is huit, 9 is neuf, and 10 is dix. I'll do that once more and leave a gap so you can have a go at pronouncing it after me. 6 is six, 7 is sept, 8 is huit, 9 is neuf, and 10 is dix. Let's recap those numbers once more. So from the start, 1 is un, 2 is deux, 3 is trois, 4 is quatre, 5 is cinq, 6 is six, 7 is sept, 8 is huit, 9 is neuf, and 10 is dix. I'll just teach these two numbers as well here. For some reason in France, when they teach numbers, they usually end on 12 rather than 10. So I'll do these numbers now for you as well. 11 is onze, and 12 is douze. They're quite easy to remember, so I'll do that once more. 11 is onze, and 12 is douze. So if I was to ask you how you say number 4 in French, what would that be like? That's right, it's quatre. What about number 8? How would you say that in French? That's right, it's huit. And what about number 12 in France? How would you say that? That's right, it's douze. So I'll read these once more before we move on to the 10s. We've got un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf, dix, onze, and douze. So you might notice a little pattern when it comes to the 10s as well, but I'll explain it as I go. So for 20, the French say vingt, even though it really doesn't look like that from the spelling. And 30, they say trente. So these are two little random ones, but then can you see as we get to 40, it's very similar to the number 4, which is quatre, but instead 40 is quarante. It's kind of similar in English, I guess. I always say 4, and then for 40, we just add a different ending on the end. So for 50, this is very similar. It's cinquante. So from the start, we've got 20, which is vingt, 30, which is trente, 40, which is quarante, 50, which is cinquante. And then when we get to 60, this is where it changes a bit. So 60 is soixante, and 70 is soixante-dix. Now, can you remember what dix was before? Dix was number 10. So basically, in France, you see how 60 is soixante and 70 is soixante-dix. This just means that the French are being lazy, and instead of creating a number for 70, they've literally just gone 60 plus 10. So it's quite lazy of them, but that's just how the numbers work. So 60 is soixante and 70 is soixante-dix. Then we get to 80, and this is completely random, but 80 is quatre-vingts. So obviously we know the word quatre, which is 4, and we know the word vingt, which is 20. So essentially what it's saying in France is for lots of 20. And obviously in maths, 4 lots of 20 makes 80. So they are right, it's just a very confusing way of writing numbers. So we've got 60, which is 60, 70, which is 60 plus 10, so 70, and 80, which is 4 lots of 20, which is 80. So when we get to 90, this is a combination of all of them, so it's got 90. So this just means there's 4 lots of 20, which means 80, and then 10 on the end just means an extra 10 added, which gets us to 90. It's so random, but for some reason the French like it. So we'll start again from the top. We've got 20, which is 20, 30, which is 30, 40, which is 40, 50, which is 50, 60, which is 60, 70, which is 70, 80, which is 80, and then 90, which is 90. And then to finish it off, 100, you'll be pleased to know, is just 100 on its own. No maths involved in this one. I'm just going to write 10 at the top, so we can go right from the very first 10. So we start off, I'll do this once more and leave a gap so you can pronounce it after me. So we've got 10, which is 10. Sorry, excuse me. 20, which is 20. 30, which is 30. 40, which is 40. 50, which is 50. 60, which is 60. 70, 60 plus 10, which is 70. 40, 4 lots of 20, which is 80. 90, 4 lots of 20 plus 10, which is 90. And then 100, which is 100. And now if you wanted to combine these and put like 33, for example, you'd simply just go 30 and then find 3, 3. So 33 would be 33. And then 40, if you wanted to say 46, for example, that would be 46. And then you just do that. For example, if you wanted to say 99, that would be 99. So you have to add the second word on the end. It's just basically how we use it in English as well. When we say 99, that's 2 words together. Obviously in French it's a lot more words, but that's just because they like the complicated method. So I'll go over the pronunciation for each word once more. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and finally we've got 100. Thank you very much for joining. Merci.